everyone, it's Nicole here for Simon Says Stamp with a rainbow of warmest wishes. Today we are going to talk about the December 2024 card kit called Warmest Wishes, and I am using 7 products from the kit to create my card today. First up, I've trimmed down some of the Neenah Solar White 110 pound weight cardstock included in the kit to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, A2 sized. Then I've taken 3 of the sentiments from the Warmest Wishes 6x8 stamp set in the kit, and I have laid them out on my card panel. I'm inking them up with some of the wonderful black Nocturne ink and stamping them right there on my card base. Now, before we get to the fun, colorful part, we are going to use some of the wonderful new Snowflake adhesive transfers included in the kit to create a beautiful tone-on-tone background. I love to add a subtle little something to a card background to jazz it up, but I love for it to kind of be muted out into the background, and these adhesive transfers are going to do just that. Using the included craft stick, I am going to remove the backing from the snowflake transfers, and we're going to apply them around the edge. I'm going to hold it up here at an angle so you can see that. See the sticky? And it is very sticky. Now in the kit, you're also getting some wonderful embossing powder. And I am going to sprinkle this on. And I'm going to use another piece of paper underneath to catch the overflow, but this is called Detail Sparkle. And it looks really silvery, but when we heat it up, it's going to be a very muted silver sparkle is kind of what I want to call it. It is not going to be overpowering at all. Now, I do recommend that you tap off some of that excess a little bit, either over a trash can or outside before heat setting to get rid of those stray flakes. Then I'm going to simply work my way up and around all of the edges of the panel. You're getting 2 sheets, and it's more than enough to do a card base. Plus, I had several large snowflakes left over. I want it to not be exactly matchy-matchy on each side, so I'm going to just work with about 1 or 2 snowflakes at a time. I think I did 2 at a time here. And I love this. It is so beautiful. Now, depending on what you put on top of this, this could end up being very elegant, or in this case, it's going to be more of a whimsical, colorful design when we add our bundled up little accessories here in a bit. Now, I just kind of bend the corner to pull off that backing paper and place my snowflake where they go. I didn't have enough small snowflakes to fill in all of the area, and I do like a little variety, so you'll notice that there is a large snowflake, I think in about 3 spots maybe, 2 or 3 spots, and only a portion of it. Let's go ahead and do another one or another couple, and then heat them all at once. You just want to burnish it on there really well. And there's lots of ways to use these. You do not have to use them just like this. You can foil them if you want to. If you have a laminator and you want to foil them, you can absolutely do that. But I loved trying out this Detail Sparkle embossing powder. So we're going to continue doing this, and then we are going to take our die that comes in the bundled up embossing folder. It is a die embossing folder combo, and we are going to die cut a bunch of the color blend cardstock with those dies. And I left my dies attached, but you can definitely cut them apart if you want to, because I'm going to need a ton of hats, a ton of mittens, and we're going to die cut them first and then place them in our embossing folder to run through our die cutting machine. Using an assortment of the color blend cardstock, I am going to die cut a bunch of the images. Now, I like to die cut mine first, and then I use the embossing folder I open it up and I find where it creates the little well in your embossing folder, and I lay the images or the die cuts inside and then run it through to get the fantastic detail that you see in the finished card. I wanted a wonderful assortment with lots of different color, so I am going to die cut a bunch of these. The embossing folders from Simon Says Stamp are so incredible. So here I am going to simply turn over the image and lay it into the well. And I try to do several at a time. If you do too many, the chance of some of them shifting can happen. So I generally like to do a few at a time, maybe not fill the whole embossing folder with my images, and I will run it through. Now, one thing that I have found that works really well with these 3D embossing folders from Simon Says Stamp, and this kind of goes for any kind of large intricate die or a frame die, something that is larger in scale, tilt your embossing folder at an angle to go through the rollers. It's going to catch much easier at an angle than if you put it straight on your platform, and it will roll right through. So I'm using my platform base, the embossing folder with all of the wonderful little die cuts, and then a cutting plate on top. Now that I have all of my die cut hats, I did off camera lay them out in the order that I want to use them. You can see in between each line of text, we are filling it with wonderful little hats and mittens. To add even more dimension, I'm going to pop all of these up with foam adhesive squares. I like the little mix-up of adding a little hat in the mittens, and then we have a couple of rows of just hats because there were so many hats. If you'll notice on the embossing folder, there actually are a lot of different textures for those hats. So have fun with it, mix and match, and really create some amazing little designs. Now, I didn't do this for today's card, but I do think it would be super cute. The mittens, and probably the hats as well, would be amazing on some of the new snowman dies from Simon Says Stamp. You could adorn your snowman's little stick arms with the mittens, and he could wear any kind or any assortment of hats that you see here. So keep that in mind, maybe try it out. I think it would be absolutely precious. I needed to get some little stray, like probably embossing powder flakes off of my card. So I went ahead and moved everything off, trying to keep it in line. You'll notice that I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. I'm using the foam adhesive squares from Simon Says Stamp. I'm using the regular height foam squares, but the thin profile would also be great. The snowflakes add such a beautiful touch to the background. Now that I have everything in place, I felt like the little pom-poms on the top of the hats needed some sparkle. Using the Pawsitively Dazzling Pastel gems, I am going to place those on the tips of the hat to finish this up. The final thing we'll do today for this card is glue this to a top fold card base. Super bright, super happy, and so much fun. Or maybe I should say snow much fun. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this Warmest Wishes card featuring the December 2024 card kit from Simon Says Stamp called Warmest Wishes. The supplies I used to create my card are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube for your convenience. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Hi there, I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.